Hello, everyone. There's still a lot of people joining in, but our social media marketer sent the sign-in sheet if y'all want to start signing in on the Google form. So the way this meeting is going to go, at 5:50, we'll start talking about membership requirements, just very briefly. And then 6 o'clock, the captain of UTSAPD will be here to speak on criminal psychology and criminal justice.
Hi guys. So before we get started, I just wanted to let y'all know about this research opportunity. Alexis and I are both RAs in Dr. Lerner's lab, where we study sleep and computational memory, and we are looking for new research assistants. So if anybody's interested, you can message me on GroupMe or you can email me for questions or anything like that. The only real requirement is that you're able to give at least 1 year of commitment to the lab. So you have to be graduating after spring of 2023. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and get started. So welcome to our second meeting. This meeting we have a speaker and he will be discussing psychology in the criminal justice field. Megan, you run? Okay. This slide, perfect.
So these are our membership requirements. We do ask that y'all attend 3 out of the 6 meetings, submit 15 volunteer credits, attend 2 out of the 3 events, and then pay your membership dues. And then the membership dues are 15 for returning members and 20 for new members. And then this is our Venmo and Cash App. They're finally back and running. So if y'all can scan that, and then be sure to include in the memo what you're paying, and then if you're a new member or returning, And yeah.
Ms. Mariana, do you
Mariana, do you want to talk about social media?
Yeah, can you guys see me?
See you, no, but they can hear you.
Okay. Hi guys. So make sure to follow all our social medias. It's really important if you want to stay updated and don't want to miss out on any events, socials, meetings, and volunteer opportunities that we have going on so you can fulfill your membership requirements. Yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy this meeting.
Then Isra, you're going to talk about virtual volunteering.
Yes, so for our virtual volunteering, we have the letters of encouragement for SASH and Children's Shelter. 1 letter equals 1 credit. And then we also have the 7 cups. It's 1 credit per hour. It offers free and anonymous online therapy. We also have Love for the Elderly, 1 credit per letter or video. Basically, they provide handwritten letters and recorded videos to those elderly that may not have someone to talk to. We also have the UTSA Pantry opportunity. If you donate 6 items, it can count. Sorry, if you donate 6 items, it can count as. Wait. No, SBA donation, $6 equals 1 credit and max of 5 credits, which means $30. And then for the UTSA Pantry, you can donate 6 items, and it must be actual items, not money.
The 6 items equals 1 credit. And then for a side note with the
Okay.
cups, it is an application that you just download on your phone. It's probably our most popular virtual opportunity. The only thing I need to warn y'all about is like, I need the screenshot of the beginning of the chat, of the timestamp, and the end. And the chats do disappear as you talk to them. So make sure you remember to screenshot in the beginning and the end. And that is just 1 credit per hour. And then next.
Our in-person volunteering opportunities this weekend, we'll have the children's shelter, the sign-up sheet was sent out with our email, but we'll also send it out after the meeting in the chat. And then we have the Ronald McDonald House, the mental health training, which is full, but we'll have another opportunity for that in April, hopefully, and then we'll have Morgan's Wonderland in April as well.
All right, for tabling, this is a really good volunteer opportunity and you can come meet the officers as well. Here's our dates. February 14th, we're going to be selling candy grams, prices to be determined. February 21st and March 1st are just regular tabling. March 9th is our well-being event. I'm sure it's our well-being event. We're not quite sure what room we're going to be in yet. And then February 15th is the involvement fair. It's only going to be for 2 hours and we'll be sending out the sign-up sheets soon.
All right, so mark your calendars, guys. These are the upcoming events, general meetings, socials that we be having, and volunteering. We will be having another general meeting on the 27th. Yes, and we will be talking about neuropsychology. Our next event, so the art therapy, which was originally supposed to be on the 8th, is now on the 24th. Remember, you do have to come to at least 1 event to have membership. You have to come to 2 events to obtain membership. We do have a social on February 17th. We'll have hot chocolate and some games, so it'll be pretty fun. You guys should come. And then volunteering on February 12th, we have the children's shelter, and then February 25th, we have the mental health training, but that one's already full. And like Bella said, we should have another one possibly later in the semester. Yes, that is all. So I wanted to talk about the personal attendance sheet. I have some printed out right here. They are in the email that we send out, and that's just to help you guys keep track of your attendance, your hours. So that way you're not on the edge of your seat just wondering like, where am I? So at the end, I can pass them out, but they are also in the email. So if you don't get one today, you can always email it at home.
Oh yeah, member of the month is Brianna. Hopefully she's online. Uh, but when we see you in person, you get a tumbler and a thank you card. Woo! A little bit about her. She's been to a lot of our volunteering events and's been a member for a while. I just wanted to recognize all of her hard work since we see her friendly face all the time.
She said, yay, thank you.
Woo! All right, so up next is our guest speaker, UTSAPD Captain Thomas Calucci.
Yay.
He'll be talking about psychology and criminal justice.
How's everybody doing?
We've got our Zoom set up right here,
Okay,
and then I'll go through your slides.
thanks. Sorry, I had somebody text me right at the last second there, so I'm gonna take my mask off and talk. Is that okay with you all? Good, glad to hear that. Can I shut this? Or do you want it open? Anybody?
You can close it. You're
Cool.
the last person in.
Last person in. Okay, how's everybody doing tonight? Doing well. My name is Tom Calucci. I'm a captain with the UTSA Police Department. I did a little presentation just because, you know, talking about my history and kind of things like that. I'm like, I've been around a while, so I kind of have to write it down to remember it all. Okay, so we'll go from there. You can go from there. So first, my world. My world is right here on this screen. This is a picture of us, my family and I. This past Christmas, on Christmas night, we went and walked around down the Riverwalk after I made a great Italian dinner for us. In the middle, right next to me, yes, I sprouted a little beard there when that was going on. So the good thing about this job is me as a captain with the police department, we get holiday time. Okay, you guys get off during winter break. So from a couple of days before Christmas till all the way till after New Year's, we get holiday time. And what that means is we don't have to burn vacation. We don't have to do anything. They just said, go home, enjoy the holidays, and we're going to give you time off. So we get about 2 weeks. So that was me with about a 2-week period right there. But in the middle right there, my son, Jonathan, he's 25 years old. He has high functioning Asperger's, high functioning autism, if you're familiar with that, right? Cool. Right in front, right over here, my daughter, her name is Gianna. She is also a psychology major. She is a sophomore here right now as well. So I actually have to get her probably hooked up with you all here, you know, because I only see ladies in here. I'm like, okay, that's cool. But she's very funny and very, very cool. And then that's my wife. That's my second wife, Michelle. She and I have been married for about 4 years right now. I was previously married and had my 2 children with my previous wife. My previous wife, and I'm going to talk about some personal things, okay, just so you know kind of where I'm coming from. My ex-wife used to work here at UTSA up until several years ago. She developed bipolar disorder type 2 with psychotic features late onset. Do you know what that means? Okay, so there's type 1 bipolar, type 2, type 1 hypomania, type 2 mania, okay? She did that, psychotic features, things got a little rough. It wasn't only because of that, but we decided to part ways. So remarried, and as I said, the kids stay with me. And then on the right-hand side are my 2 pups. On the left is Penny, and on the right is Lola. Can you see that pretty well? I love this picture because they're holding paws, you know? So it's pretty cute. So that's my world. You know, when somebody asks you what you do or what you are, you know, there's a difference. What I am, I'm a father, I'm a husband. You know what I mean? That's what I am. What do? I do this. Okay, to be able to do that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to kind of give my little spiel on me, and then I want to get to know you all a little bit, and then we're going to have a discussion on, you know, we talked about kind of that law enforcement, that mental health versus law enforcement, kind of collaborating, kind of things like that. So we'll talk at length about that, and then any questions you guys have towards the end. I really want to have a good discussion with you all on that. So go ahead and flip. So my educational background, several years ago, when I realized I needed a degree to move up in the ladder of rank, I got my bachelor's degree from Wayland Baptist with a degree in human services way back in 2015. And then as you can see right now, I am a student here as well, getting my master's degree in clinical mental health counseling with an expected graduation date of 2023. I have 4 classes left to go. So, but you're like, but you have gray hair, you're a student? Yes, damn it, I do. And yes, I am. Okay, and you know, I mean, never stop learning, right? You know, I mean, you guys are, I'm gonna assume 18, 19, 20, you know, something like that. When you get to my age, look, I don't want to be wearing this the rest of my life. And my wife doesn't want me to be wearing this the rest of my life. You know, what I really want to do and long-term goal, after I get licensed, I really want to learn therapy and help first responders work through traumatic incidents, because there's so many of them out there that really need help. You know what I mean? And, you know, I don't even know if that affects your family at all or you personally, but we'll talk about that a little more. My certifications, by the way, I forgot to tell you, I've been working here at UTSA for 22 years. We started in 2000. You're like, dang, that's longer I've been alive. Yeah, I recognize that. Before that, I was in a small town up near Waco, Texas. Before that, I'm originally from New York, Buffalo, New York, west side of the state near Niagara Falls. Chicken wing, buffalo wing? No, it's a chicken wing to me because that's where that thing's born. All right, I will eat that all day long. So, master peace officer, that means I have a lot of years doing this. Okay, so let's go from there. Crisis intervention and mental health officer. I took a lot of training, and I guess about 15 years ago, and especially when I was kind of dealing with my ex-wife at the time, my interest in mental health really rose. So I started taking a lot of training classes on mental health and law enforcement and kind of trying to bridge that gap a little bit. So I am both a certified crisis intervention and mental health officer. I'm also a police instructor for CIT, MHO, preventing workplace violence and de-escalation skills. So I teach all those right now. I'm the only captain right now at our level of the police department that goes out and really teaches. I love teaching. I love going out and spreading knowledge and helping people understand, you know, things. So I'm certified in the CIVR 25, the waiver 21, the SAM, which is the stalking assessment manual, which are threat assessment tools. I'm going to talk about that here in a little bit, but yeah, we'll go from there. So I also do internal investigations and I supervise internal investigations. What does that mean? So as a police department, let's face it, sometimes things happen where our officers make mistakes or heaven forbid, they do something that is not right. Okay. Well, I'm kind of the police of the police. Okay. So somebody calls in a complaint, hey, this guy violated policy by doing this, or somebody did that. I want to hold them accountable for that. Okay, so just know that I do that, and I also supervise those investigations as well. Go ahead. So as I said, I've been at UTSA for 22 years. I started off as a patrol officer. I moved all the way up to the rank I'm in right now. Right now, I am the division commander of what's called Specialized Services. What that means is I oversee 4 sections of our police department. Basically, everybody who doesn't drive the patrol cars and write tickets. Okay, so I'm over our police communications, all of our dispatchers. You know what a police dispatcher is, right? Okay. Research shows that about 95, 96% of the community, their first contact with the police department is through a dispatcher when they call 911. Okay. I want them to be the best. If you get them as your first contact, I want that experience to be excellent and outstanding and get you the help you need. That's why we do what we do there. Community affairs officers, Sergeant Walbrook. We do a lot of community events like Coffee with a Cop this morning at the JPL. Yesterday, we went over to the Community Bible Church. There was a young child, 10 years old, that has a fatal cancer or something like that. And so you heard about that, DJ. Like 40 police agencies swore him in as a police officer. It was a great event. Heart, you know, I mean, pulled on your heartstrings. I'm also over our criminal investigations. When I was moving up through the ladder, I was an investigator most of my professional career, let's put it that way. So criminal investigations are really my forte, really kind of my niche on a B level. So you know what I'm saying? And then our behavioral intervention and threat assessment team, which has skyrocketed lately. That's where those threat assessment tools come in. What does that do? And I'll tell you right now, probably the behavioral intervention threat assessment takes about 80% of my day right now. with all the reports that come in from, concerning behavior. The goal of that team, which I'm also co-chair of, as you can see there at the bottom, basically our team exists to identify concerning behavior which would lead to a violent event. Okay, that's it in a nutshell. What does that mean? We know that, and you guys are all psychology students, right? And I'm going to assume you are at different levels, correct? From freshmen all the way up to seniors. Okay. When I say a term, pathway to violence, you know what that means? When I say, hello, when I say assess somebody, you know what that means? Okay, have any of you studied any assessment tools in psychology?
Is assessment just to like ask them questions to see where they are?
Absolutely. Okay, a standardized assessment. Okay, there's standardized and not standardized. All right, we know the difference. Okay, if I ask you, hey, how you doing today? Okay, that's not standardized assessment. Standardized assessment, you mark out scores, you base it off of that rubric, and you say, okay, this is or is not a problem. So we use these type of tools in our behavioral and threat assessment team to kind of gauge a level of threat from somebody. Not only a threat to themselves, but a threat to others. Okay, but based on that outcome is really how we deal with things. If it's a threat of a harm or risk of harm to self, okay, we handle things differently. Why? Because the law says we will. And I'm going to talk about that here in a little bit, about the Mental Health Act that was passed way, way long time ago. Threat to others now, if somebody is on this campus threatening to harm you, or we're going to take immediate action to make sure that that doesn't happen. Okay, so that's where that behavioral intervention threat assessment comes in. The team is multidisciplinary. We have people from student affairs, legal affairs, counseling, ombuds. There's like 11 people on the team. It's actually a little too much, but I'm good with it for right now. So as I said, that takes up most of my day. So committees I'm on, as I said, I'm co-chair of the BIHIT, excuse me. I'm also co-chair of committees, the Workplace Bullying Committee, Postvention, Healthy Minds, and Inclusive Excellence. Anybody heard of the Healthy Minds before? Dr. Mary McNaughton Castle? Yeah, she had that program up until about a year ago. I haven't heard from her on that lately, but she's on our team. So our behavioral team, I need to talk with her about that. So I keep busy here at the university. I keep very busy. I think this side of my gray hair is all the other stuff I have to do around here. But I love my job. I really wouldn't be doing anything else right now. As I said, I told you what my goals are right now, but go ahead. And then kind of our governing body for our behavioral team is the NABITA, the National Association for Behavioral Intervention Team Association up there. I'm on the advisory board for that. So combined with my mental health experience and my soon-to-be degree and my law enforcement experience, am I in your way?
No.
I can switch around a little bit, and I will. They're like, hey, why don't you join us? We could really use your experience and all that. So I'm like, cool, let's do it. I'm down. Is it paid? No. All right, well, that sucks. I'll still do it anyways. So that's fine. I'm going to be doing that with them. And then lastly, as kind of a feather in the cap, I got accepted to the FBI National Academy here really just about a couple of weeks ago, which means in April, I'll be leaving and going up to Quantico, Virginia, excuse me, to take training through the FBI. I put a little information on there on all that stuff, and I'll be coming back in April 22. Why do I want to do that? So as I progress up the rank or up the ladder, and I become a leader of a department, executive leader, it's a very good feather in the cap to have this type of training. Okay, it's good leadership training and things like that. So I'm looking forward to it. I have to say it's a little challenging, the physical part, because I have to run and I'm not young anymore. I'm 56 years old now, and I'm like, okay, I got to run a mile in 10 minutes, and that might be great for y'all. You're probably like, I'll knock that out, but for me, that's a challenge a little bit. I had COVID about a month ago, so it's still kind of hanging on a little bit. So I'm good with that. And I think that is it. You can hit the next. Okay, so this is going to be our discussion, but I want to really kind of get to know you all a little bit. So this is the Psychology Club Psychology Association, and we're talking, yep, there it is right there. Thank you. So freshmen all the way up to seniors, right? Okay. Why are you all in the club? What do you hope to get out of this? Why are you in the association?
For me,
wanted to know like the different types of fields in psychology and just kind of learn what my options are as far as like a career. And criminal justice is always been a good interest of mine.
Cool, cool, cool. So my daughter, Gia, 19 years old, sophomore here, when she graduated high school, she wanted to be a cosmetologist. She wanted to do hair and makeup and all that stuff. And she was really good. She had all these, oh my God, it freaked me out. She had all these like heads in her room with like hair and stuff. And I would walk in sometimes in the dark and I'd be like, okay, that's my, that's my thing. I'm like, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? We were sitting at home one day and we watched a show on, I think it's on Netflix, called Mindhunters. Okay, John Douglas. John Douglas was kind of the father of, at that time, what's called criminal profiling. Okay, you're all aware of that show? Have you seen that show? Yes? No? No, some have, some haven't. Okay. It's a good show. She watched that show intently and she's like, that's what I want to do. So I was like, okay, cool. I said, look, I got you through undergrad and grad school. You go on PhD, that's on you, okay? I'm like, you know, I'm going to be dead by then, so that's on you, okay? So she's cool with that. But, you know, it's funny how things kind of change your path in life, you know? And I appreciate your response. Yeah, she's really looking forward to all that. And in fact, right now, I'm also mentoring a high school student over at O'Connor High School who really wants to kind of do the same thing you all are doing right now as well. She wants to get to do that kind of behavioral science thing. So I'm kind of helping her along and teaching her, at least from my point of view, you know, assessing people and the red flags and kind of things like that. So, okay, cool. So when I was first contacted about giving this presentation, we wanted to talk about kind of the, you know, the criminal justice and mental health. Okay, so this is a discussion. As I said, I really want to get some input from you all. I know we have about 45 minutes. I really want to, you know, have some questions and some good open dialogue on this. So, you know, let me start with the history of mental health a little bit. Okay, if you go all the way back in time, back to kind of the medieval times and kind of things like that, how was mental illness treated? Anybody know?
It was thought as demonic.
It was evil, right? Right. It was thought as evil. How was that dealt with?
Burned at the stake.
They were killed. Exactly. They were killed. Okay. And yes, you know, you talk about, you know, even the Salem witch trials that happened up in Massachusetts in the 1600s. Could that have been kind of part of that? Maybe, I don't know. I'm not going to speculate on that, but you're right. Even all the way from like Egyptian times, all the way up, you know, yes, they considered somebody with a mental illness to be evil and they disposed of them. Because why? They didn't want to be associated with that. As time progressed, France, I don't know if you know this, 16 something, I can't remember the exact year, they were the first country to start a national hospital to deal with the depraved. Okay. And they had different kind of hospitals around France, but they were the first ones to kind of take on that asylum path. Okay. And then moving on and going through the 1700s, 1800s, things like that, a lot more mental illness came out. You know, we had post-traumatic stress, you know, during the wars, things like that, which was called a lot of different things up through there. But then really in the 1960s, well, let me go back. In 1940, President Truman signed the Mental Health Act, National Mental Health Act, which kind of humanized mental health treatment here in the United States. Are you all familiar with this at all? Does this sound familiar? Did you all cover it in Psychology 101 a little bit? Yeah, okay. So if I'm saying something you've already heard, just kick me in the butt and you're fine with that, okay? So from there, really the treatment of the mentally ill, mental health turned into that asylum thing where, look, hey, we're going to take these people that we think are ill and let's remove them from society. Let's remove them from their families. Let's remove them from the things they like to do, and let's give them rest. They'll be okay with rest. And let's give them some experimental drugs, and let's do these experimental things to them. You know, let's pull out portions of their brain, and you know, and let's see if that helps. And it didn't, but they continued to do it, and they continued to do it for a long time, until the people kind of woke up and said, "Whoa, morally speaking, this is wrong." Okay, so really back in the 1960s is where that deinstitutionalization started. You know what that means? What does it mean? Deinstitutionalization. So it means really funding was taken away from those asylums, hospitals, things like that, so they couldn't function anymore. So then what happened to the people that were in those facilities? Where'd they go?
Like, well, either back home or maybe they didn't even have home
So where would they go?
on the streets.
On the streets, exactly. So now 60s, 70s, and even 80s. President Reagan, have you heard of President Reagan back in the 80s? That was really kind of the height of the deinstitutionalization. He really pulled a lot of funding from a lot of the mental health things. Everybody said he was a great president. I think he sucked for doing that. I'm sorry. I was like, dude, really? You know, I mean, come on. Really the 80s was the high point for the deinstitutionalization, where they pulled a lot of money. Now they funneled that money to other places. I get that, and I'm sure it was probably useful, but there's a lot of people that suffer that because they ended up on the street. Okay, so now mental illness becomes criminalized. How do I mean by that? So you see somebody on the street who is, let's say, schizophrenic, okay? And everybody knows what I'm talking about when I say schizophrenic, okay? It's a thought disorder characterized by hallucinations, audible hallucinations, delusions, things like that, okay? Okay, well, you know, I see this person here doing this, and I can't really call anybody. I want to call the police. So the police get there, and what do? Well, you know, I'm going to take him to jail. You know, right now, our jails in this country and probably this world are the largest housing facility for our mentally ill. Would that surprise you? Cool. Yeah, it doesn't really surprise me either. So, so now look at where we are now. So through the 80s and 90s, now things have gotten a little better as far as the reinstitutionalization now. Now you see a lot more hospitals opening up. You see a lot more agencies opening up, things like that. We're lucky here in this town that we have a lot of opportunities for people with mental illness, you know, to be able to get and seek treatment. And I haven't even talked about, you know, minority, you know, things like that. Money, you know, lack of insurance, all that plays a part in people not seeking. And I'm sure we talked about that, seeking resources. So, you know, that's just kind of a little history of it. My thoughts on this. Okay, so I'm a police officer, first and foremost. Okay, this is what I do. My thoughts on mental health treatment right now. I don't think the cops should respond to mental health calls. I don't. I'm sorry. You know, yes, I train it. I do it. I've been doing it for a long time. I'm a police officer. Okay. Police way back in the 1800s with a guy by the name of Sir Robert Peel, who was kind of the grandfather of modern policing, talked about three kind of values or three core values of policing. And it talks about protection of people, protection of property, and quelling disturbances. Never in there does it say we're going to deal with the mentally ill or people who are sick. You know, it never says that. How did it get to where the police are now the first ones responding to these calls? Why do you think? Give me some ideas on why you think police are the first ones to respond to these calls.
There's nobody else.
What do you mean by that?
Like you said, if you see somebody, you know, having 12 issues, you don't know who to call. So this person's thing just.
Okay, great. Let me give you an example. Okay, we work at a very large university, right? We have what, about 34,000 students this semester. There is a myriad of offices on campus that can help you if you're struggling or you're in crisis. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Until 5 o'clock. What happens after 5 o'clock?
They go home.
They close their doors and they go home. Who's here after that? Not me particularly. I'm home cooking dinner, you know, making some spaghetti or something. No, I'm just kidding with you. Our people, our patrol officers are out here. And who do people call? The police. And we get it all the time. So what I did was I started a program in our police department here just last semester that with the counseling faculty that I know downtown, I had them come in and teach us advanced mental health assessments, you know, dealing with people in crisis. My goal is to form a crisis intervention team within our police department, maybe get some uniform changes, make them less, you know, I don't want to see that. You know, I want to see somebody who's approachable, who can establish rapport, who can assess, who can get somebody some help and not feel that they're going to jail because they're sick. That should never, ever happen. Okay, I'm sorry, if somebody has stage 4 cancer, they should never feel like they have to go to jail because they're sick, or kidney failure, or name it, or the flu, or COVID. I don't care. They shouldn't have to feel like that. Do you all feel that way as well?
I agree.
But that's a tough pill to sell and swallow, right? It really is, because as I said, sometimes police get called for these things, and then we have to, you know, kind of take different pathways to helping people. Look, we don't get calls that say, go deal with this person in crisis. It doesn't start like that. It starts off with a call for a disturbance, or a call where somebody's upset, or something like that. Nobody ever comes over our dispatch radio and says, this person's having a mental health crisis right now, go deal with that. It's up to that officer to get there and then say, okay, what's going on? Do I need to take this person to jail for doing something, or do I need to try and use some crisis intervention? Okay, so it really depends on that officer to be able to switch gears very quickly, and that's what I want to teach them. I want to teach them that you don't have to go in and automatically grab somebody and put handcuffs on them. It's okay to talk to people. And look, all right, I get it. Nobody likes talking to cops. I don't like talking to cops. I don't like getting pulled over. That's what I have. If I did, I don't want to deal with that, you know, you know, but as I said, there's nobody else out there after 5 o'clock. So what are we going to do? This is where you all come, right? What's that?
Oh, I said call 911.
Call
Yeah,
911. Exactly. Are you streaming this as well?
It's on Zoom. We have Zoom participants.
No,
That's
cool.
okay.
Cool. I welcome any comments or questions on there. You know, that's totally cool.
Sure if there is any.
So that's kind of the way that I see this. Now, look, as I said, we have a crisis intervention training program that helps with that. There's a mobile crisis outreach team, MCOT. Have you heard of that before? That really is teaming that mental health professional, okay, with a police officer and maybe a medical person like a paramedic, EMS, something like that, that if there is harm to self, at least that person can go in and tend to, you know, a physical injury where we can kind of take care of the rest. Do you want to know the only person in the state of Texas right now that can take somebody to the hospital because they are a risk of harm to themselves? Who do you think can do that? You're going to be psychologists. You're going to go out there, you're going to shake the world, you're going to get that PhD, you're going to rock and roll. Do you think you're going to be able to take somebody to the hospital for that? No, you're not. Do you think a medical doctor, 30 years, work in the emergency room, knows everything, has seen everything? Do you think that person can get somebody admitted to a hospital for a psych hold? No. Police are the only ones. I'm like, what? And there's other states in the country where that's not the case. So look, as I said, I'm studying to be an LPC, licensed professional counselor. We can do many, many things. We can assess, we can diagnose, you know, not to the level maybe a psychologist, definitely not to the level of psychiatrist. Okay, but at least I can say at that time, I really think this person is a risk of harm to themselves. Okay, and for their safety, I really think they need to be in the hospital. Because why? They need that Band-Aid for their mental health to say, look, if they're not med compliant, you know, things like that, let's get that stabilized, and then let's work on some therapy, whatever, to deal with what's going on. Okay, what's your thoughts on that? What do you think about the police being the only ones to be able to take somebody to the hospital?
I think it's a little scary if they don't have the training
Okay,
to assess.
right.
Yeah.
So that's why I do what I do, to give them that training. How scary do you think it is for that person we're taking to the hospital? Okay, because look, I have a pair of handcuffs, and right now our policy says anybody who goes in the backseat of our car, we have to put handcuffs on. So I'm here to tell you, I have violated policy many times. Okay, and on Zoom, I'm sorry I have to hear this. If somebody's being cool with me, I'm going to be cool with them, because I understand this is probably the most scary minute of their life right now. You know, not only are they dealing with the mental illness, being in crisis, but now I'm saying, guess what? I'm taking you away from here and I'm taking you to somewhere you don't know, a hospital. Now, I've seen the looks on people's faces when I've done that. And I recognize that, as I said, this is earth shattering for them. Okay, I get that. I wish that all officers were like that. Some are not. Some are good at doing what I do. Some don't care. whatever I can do to get done with this, so I can go have lunch with my buddy, that's what I want to do. Okay, I'm here to tell you, there are some cops out there like that. Okay, there are, and I hate that, and I want to change that, but I can't, because I can only change where I work. I can't change the whole, wish I could. You know what I mean? So, you guys are becoming psychologists for a reason. Okay, psychologists assessing, diagnosing, and you're right, what you said, there are so many different branches of psychology, clinical psychology, sports psychology. I mean, God, I could name 30 of them, I'm sure, and that's for each of you to decide which path you want to take. And I really want to hear from you on which path you want to take and why. Let's talk about that. Because I remember when I first started coming, doing this job, my goal was not to change the world. I know I wasn't going to be able to do that. What I want to do is I want to change my little corner of it. I want to do that a little bit. And just a little bit, a little baby step at a time, see what I can do about helping other people along the way. Okay, that's me. All right. What about you? Why do you want to get into this field? What appeals to psychology, about psychology that you want to do this?
I'm hoping to go be a doctor, and I think mental health, unless you're a psychiatrist, is kind of something that is not prioritized as much as it should be, and ER and family practice and stuff like that. Why I chose to be a psych major, because I think that's really important to have more access, I guess, to good mental health.
So I work on, God bless you. I work my full-time job, and then because I'm a police officer, I get to work side jobs. Okay, and with my daughter in college and me finishing my master's degree, a little extra money helps. Plus having a vacation, I really want to do that. So I work at 2 hospitals as a part-time job. I work over at MSTH Hospital, Methodist Specialty and Transplant Hospital. Does everybody know that hospital? So that hospital under Methodist has one of the best psych units up on the 5th, 6th, 7th floor, probably in the city, probably in the state, quite honestly. I work in their ER, where they get the EDs, emergency detentions, the patients brought in. And then once they're there, they get transferred up to the floor, but I'm there when they first come in. Every day that I'm there, somebody in crisis comes in, and I'm given the opportunity to help calm them down. There was a guy that came in the other day, and I hate telling war stories. This guy, they use the term paranoid schizophrenic. We know that's a term that's kind of on the way out. Paranoid personality disorder is probably in the DSM-6. It's going to be changed to hypersensitivity disorder, right? Have you heard that before? This guy he glommed onto me, and he was freaking out. The 2 ladies, paramedics, were ladies, and he didn't like the ladies. So I was like, hey, bud, you're cool. And he thought he was going to be in trouble, and he was not. And I got him up to the floor, and he was good after that. And then I also worked down at Metro Hospital, Methodist Metro downtown, off of Brooklyn, where really kind of the inner city community comes in for their mental health needs. So we'll commonly get people coming in, suicidal ideation, suicidal intent, homicidal intent. Okay, good question. So I just use the term ideation versus intent. If you're talking to somebody with suicidal ideation, what's the difference between that and suicidal intent? Do you know? You seniors should know that. What is it? What's the difference between ideation and intent?
They have an actual plan.
Absolutely, absolutely. So if you have somebody who's saying that, hey, I want to, and don't get me wrong here, asking somebody if they want to end their life is probably the hardest question you'll ever have to do it. You know what I'm saying? I've done it so many times now, it's kind of second nature, and I hate that I'm so desensitized to it. But you say to somebody, hey, are you thinking about ending your life? Yes, I am. Okay. Do you have a plan? Well, no. Okay. All right, that's cool. Okay, now patient B, do you have a plan? Yes. I'm going to go, after I'm done talking with you, I'm going to go jump off the bridge and get run over by traffic. Is that a plan? Which one is higher risk?
The one with the plan.
The one with the plan, suicidal intent. Same thing with homicidal intent. Okay, because let's face it, people are out there. Especially when psychology majors here, you should know this. Talking about personality disorders, okay? We're talking about narcissism now. When we talk about now that theory of human development, we talk about Erickson and we talk about those stages of human development, right? So when we talk about that development along the way, and we talk where narcissism starts at about age 12 to 15, okay? Are you familiar with what I'm talking about? Freshmen are like, no, you will, I promise you, okay? Things you do as a child or have happened to you as a child will affect you later in life. Make sense? Okay. Those of you who studied it, you're like, yeah, tell me something I don't know. When you now talk about developing personality disorder, especially narcissism, and the link to kind of that psychopathy of homicide, is that something you have talked about in your classes as seniors, anything like that?
Sort of. I took a behavioral profiling class and they kind of covered it, but
Okay.
very briefly.
Okay. Can I ask what you remember about it?
Not much.
Cool, cool. So look, all right, who knows what narcissism is? Anybody at all? Okay. There.
Do you have a marker?
No, actually, I was looking for like a Kleenex, I'm sorry, or something to blow my nose on, but is there a restroom?
Mm.
Let's see. Well, we're good for now. Sorry. So when we're talking about narcissism and we're talking about personality disorders, the psychopathy there is, what are the traits of narcissism? Okay. Remorse. Is there remorse in somebody with narcissism? Right. So they don't care about what they do. So when you talk about now people harming other people, that narcissism comes into play. Okay. Google it later on, pull it up. You'll see what I'm talking about. You can see the research studies on there, about the narcissism relating to homicidal intent. So I forgot where I was going with that, but we're good with that right now. So, it's just something that, again, these tools that we use helps us assess these people for what's going on with them. So you as a psychologist, whatever field you get into, you're going to learn to use these assessments for whatever. We have a sports psychologist that works with the teams over here at UTSA. What does a sports psychologist do? You want to make sure you're in the right mind to get down there on the field or the court or the diamond or the soccer field or whatever to be able to play. What affects people in their ability to play? What's going on in their mind? Okay. I'm worried about money. I'm worried about this relationship I had. I'm worried about my parents. I'm worried about, this, that going on. Do you think that affects people? Yeah, in all ways. Okay. So when you're talking about a sports psychologist, a clinical psychologist, everybody kind of deals with the same thing, but in their own, field of play a little bit. So, all right. So you want to be a doctor. Okay. And you want to get into, remind me again?
I'm not sure yet.
Damn it.
We'll say that.
How many freshmen in here? Cool. Sophomores? Juniors? And seniors? Seniors. All right, cool. So what do you want to do when you grow up?
I'm gonna be a social worker.
Okay. And are you taking, are you getting a bachelor's in psychology?
Yes.
Are you going to go on to an MSW?
Yes.
Cool. Where are you going to do that?
U of H.
University of Houston. Okay, cool. Why there?
Well, I'm going there because I have family there.
Cool, cool. What does a social worker do?
Oh, it's just a bigger field of psychology.
Okay.
It's huge,
It
but
it is.
I specifically want to work with veterans. I come from a military family.
Cool, cool. I can appreciate that. Cool. Case management.
Yes.
Case management. What does that mean to you?
It kind of depends on the person you're working with, but they can do a lot of what's the word, helping them connect with resources. They can also do therapy with them if they want to.
A clinical social worker can.
Yes.
Okay. Somebody with just an MSW cannot.
Yes.
Okay, so you're going to go clinical route?
Yeah, I'm gonna get my LCSW.
Cool. Cool, 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 cool. What about you? What do you want to do?
No, don't ask me.
You don't know yet.
No, actually, I want to do work psychology.
Work psychology.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
So make the small differences.
So you're going to work on theory of motivation
yes.
and kind of things like that.
Social
That is, yeah, absolutely. That's a great field. I'll tell you what, man, if you get into a good company, you're going to do,
I hope so.
you're going to do well with that.
Thank you.
How about anybody else? Does anybody else know what the end game is? What's your goal? What do you want to do?
I'm actually a kinesiology major, but I want to go into occupational therapy.
Okay.
So that's why I'm here, is because there's a lot of overlap with psychology,
Yeah.
especially developmental and abnormal. So
So occupational therapy different from physical therapy. Okay, tell us what an occupational therapist does.
So an occupational therapist works with patients to rehab them to be able to perform like activities of daily living. So I want to work with kids, so it's very broad with kids. So it includes tasks for school, like reading and writing, handwriting, but also like self-care, like brushing teeth, feeding, tying shoes, dressing, and then like sensory regulation, emotional regulation, stuff like that as well.
Right. So, thank you. You know, there's a whole lot that falls under that, but when I kind of hear that, I think about TBI, traumatic brain injuries.
Oh, yes.
Okay, are you all familiar with that term? Okay, look, let's be clear that in the military, there's a lot of TBI, but it also happens in everyday life. Okay, and I'm sure you've heard the story of the guy from China and California way back in the 1700s, I think, was carving out a mountain for railroad track and had a dynamite explode and had something hit his head. And there's research, there's firsthand accounts of how this guy changed and became homicidal after this TBI. You know, it's like, whoa, man. So it's real and it really needs some attention. So yeah. So who else knows what do they want to do? Yes.
Research.
Ooh, okay. On what? Quantitative, qualitative?
I think qualitative.
Qualitative?
More like the psychometrics. Either like in developmental psychology or like academia.
Okay, I know that. Okay. Wow, that's man. I give you kudos for that, man. I'm telling you, I'm not a math person at all. So you know, that's what I'm doing.
I'm still thinking about it, but I'll be like a counselor for teenagers, but in a church setting.
Okay, all right.
So I'm working it out, but that's what I'm thinking about.
So what year are you again?
Sophomore.
Okay, and you are again bachelor's in psychology. So you're going to work towards master's in
Probably psychology again, or with theology as well.
okay. Cool. That's you know, having that master's in psychology, you know, allows you to do a little more than like an LPC or an LCSW, you know, something like that. Is really as far as the assessments go, you know, things like that. So good for you. Kudos for you. Yeah,
Right now, I'm not really sure, but I know I definitely want to work with domestic violence victims.
Trauma, you know, and that's one thing I haven't talked about, but when you talk about those stages of human development and the onset of trauma at a young age, it can really, how can I say this nicely? It can really F somebody up their whole life. I'm sorry, lady, rueful ladies, okay, I'm sorry, but it can really, you know, really change somebody. That's good. You know, there's a lot of therapy. There's a lot of that deals, you know, a lot of theoretical approaches to dealing with somebody with trauma, EMDR, you know, CBT, you know, kind of things like that. Yeah, something I hope to learn someday too. But you know, my end game, I think I said this earlier. I can't remember if I said this or not, but my end game is, and I can show you videos of where first responders, whether it be cops, fire, EMS, dispatchers, something happens where somebody's killed or seriously hurt or something like that. Because let's face it, post-traumatic stress disorder doesn't occur just from, you know, something happening to you, right? You can have that secondary trauma where it happens to somebody else and you have that. So, and I'll be totally frank with you, I have PTSD and I'll tell you exactly from when, but I want to be able to help those first responders get through that, because for first responders, suicide and divorce are the two highest are in law enforcement. And I'm like, that's crap right there, you know, and I recognize that I'm a statistic with what happened with my ex-wife. And I try and play it off saying, no, it was her, or was it me, or what, you know, so I'm still kind of working that out. But anyway, so that's kind of where I'm coming from with that. And I gotta be honest, if I was younger, as I said, I'm 56 years old right now. If I was like 20 years younger after my master's, I would go on for that PhD, you know, because that's the level I'd want to take it to be able to help, you know. I have some very good friends that are PhD psychologists, clinical psychologists with the fire department, and with Bear County Sheriff's Office. And if you ever want me to introduce them to you, I'll be happy to do that. Melissa Graham and Brandy Burke. I was with them with the Texas Crisis Intervention Team for a long time. They are very good ladies, very competent. Not only psychologists, but they go out to hostage negotiation, kind of all that, and they help teach a crisis intervention. So amazing women in the field, leaders, you know. So again, let me know on that. Back in 94, I was a young police officer up in, as I said, a small city near Waco, Texas. In the city, there was a DPS office. You know what I'm talking about? One of those driver's license office, you know, kind of things like that. Well, this guy went in one day and he went to renew his driver's license, but he ended up having a warrant for burglary, I think. Nothing, you know. Well, instead of staying when the troopers go to get him, he runs out the door. Now, when you run out the door of this thing, it goes down a driveway, and I-35 is right there. There's the feeder road and then the big old highway. Okay, I don't know if you're familiar with the area up there, south of West, where you get the good kolaches when you travel through there, but north of kind of Waco again. So this guy starts running down the middle of the road and all that. He comes back, he gets in his car, and he tries to drive away. Now the troopers are on him, and we get called, hey, this is what's going on. So the troopers and a couple other officers stopped this guy inside our city on the highway, on I-35, right on the main lanes of the highway. It was July, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. To say it was 105 out would probably be a good day. Now look, I'm from New York, okay? I can handle 2 feet of snow on the ground and go get pizza, okay? When it's 105 degrees and I got my vest on and I'm like, oh, man. I was the last car to get up to the scene. This guy had, when they stopped him, he got out of his car and he started shooting at the cops. No one got hurt yet. When I got there, I pulled up and I was on the shoulder of the outside lane, the wrong lane, and trying to, you know, get a better angle on this guy. He saw me and he turned around and he fired at me while I took cover behind my car. He put 4 or 5 rounds into the front of my car. In my radiator, you know, on the ground. I was fine. That scared the crap out of me. You know, I think I needed some diapers after that because I've never been in that situation before. And I've never been in the situation since. Scared the crap out of me. Luckily, we were apprehending him. He was shot, not life-threatening. We took him into custody. Thought I was going to die. Okay, so I have PTSD from that. There's 2 things that I can't handle right now. Loud noises. I love fireworks. I love taking my family to go see fireworks, but I have to stay about a mile away. I can't get right underneath them. It freaks me out. Sorry, that's me. The other thing that gets me, the smell. You know the smell of when coolant hits the ground on a hot day and that smell that kicks up? You know, if you've ever been to a crash or something like that, if I smell that, I immediately go back to that scene. And you'll see me start sweating, start shaking a little bit, and I need to get away from there. My wife knows this. My wife is amazing with this. When we go see fireworks or something like that, or if there's a loud noise that's, you know, that I don't know is coming, she will, I mean, sometimes like put her hands on my ears and walk me away. She's amazing with that. You know, but that, you know, that happened so long ago, but it made me into kind of the person I am right now. You know what I mean? But I wouldn't change it. You know, I mean, I had to do what I had to do. That was my job. This guy was going to hurt somebody. He was going to hurt some of my friends. I had to do what I had to do. There are so many others out there in my shoes that have had worse experiences. If you hear the stories from some of the cops that went to that Pulse nightclub shooting in Florida several years ago, or I mean, all these, you know, to walk into a scene like that, I can't even imagine. But they do, and they do their job. They have to. So that's what I want to do, kind of long term to help out with that. Again, I forgot where I was going with that. So we're doing good on time. We got about 15 minutes. I want to open it up, 15 minutes. I want to open up and let's talk about questions before. Okay, cool. Yeah, I want to do that. But also, if there's something you wanted me to talk about that I didn't, please let me know. And I'm also welcome, you know, I'll come back anytime and have this discussion with you again, but go ahead and
I wanted to ask, what are some of the most important things you've learned about crisis intervention through your experiences?
Being able to talk with somebody. Not having them see this, you know what I mean? So there's kind of that. You get these police officers out there that have this uniform on and they have this badge and gun and the Batman belt and all this stuff. And they're, oh, you know, you're going to do what I tell you to do and you're going to do it now. And if not, I'm going to take your ass to jail. No, it's not how that works. Okay. You need, now look, don't get me wrong. There might be a time for that. Okay. But there's also a time not to do that. So I need you to be able to communicate. I need you to be able, you know, it's funny because I don't have any of my medals on right now. But they give medals for shooting and self-defense and all this stuff. And I always said, why don't they ever give a medal out for people using their mouths? Well, they finally did. There's a CIT medal. I don't have it on right now. It's on my dress uniform. You know, they did. I'm like, yay, good for you. Communication, being able to communicate, active listening, you know, being able to get down to somebody's level. I got to be honest with you right now. I could pick any one person in this room. And in about 30 seconds, I can develop a rapport with them. I've been doing it so long. I can do it. I promise. You know, you need to be able to do the same thing. Okay? Absolutely. Somebody else had their hand up, ma'am.
I just have a question about, like, do you know, like, the costume degree?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Degree?
I'm sorry. Say it
I'm
again.
sorry. Like, do you know, like, any costume, like, things or, like, something that kind of dramatic and do like, degree?
Okay, so critical incident debriefings. Thank you for bringing that up. Have any of you heard that before? Critical incident debriefing. So, all right, let me tell you what happened. After that 94 shooting I was in, they brought in this therapist, at least I think he was an ass, excuse my French. Every cop that was involved in this, we were in our community center, we stood in a circle and we talked about what happened and our thoughts, our feelings about what happened. Guess what? Did that help me? No, it re-traumatized me. I'm like, are you nuts? What are we doing here? You know, I'm like, no, this is not going to work. So I did some research on critical incident debriefings. They still do them. Research shows they're not effective. They're not. Evidence-based individual therapy works the best with somebody who's been through a critical incident. And not just me, could be you. Don't give me that. Let's sit in the kumbaya circle. Let's talk about our feelings. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. I would absolutely, and I've said it here. They wanted to do it a couple of times and I said, no, I will not participate in that and I will not sponsor that. No. I said, you want to talk one-on-one? I'm down for that. You want to come in and talk? And let's face it, I do have a lot of our people in our office come and talk with me. Why? Because I'm a counselor. You know, I talk with people. My problem is I'm also a leader. I'm a captain. Okay. I am a step below the chief's level. So I have some boundaries. You've heard that term before, boundaries, that I have to abide by. You know what I mean? So does that answer your question?
So yeah, just to clarify, I mean, like, all my classes always say like they don't see a use for debriefing. So I was like, I would just want to know when you started.
They suck. That's my thoughts. Throw them out the door. Okay. And if you need me to come to one of your classes and tell somebody that, I will absolutely do it. I will kick them in the ass for saying that. Other questions?
We had a question in the Zoom chat. What are the signs of someone who has a suicidal intent?
Okay, so let's talk about that. All right, so let's talk about suicidal intent. You're dealing now with a person who is intent on ending their life. Okay, what are some of the things we're going to look for? Okay, you can go through it, kind of that biopsychosocial. Okay, you can use that, but let's break it down a little bit. Okay, let's talk about now somebody who is in their room on campus, something like that, and they come to you and say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to need these textbooks anymore. You can have them now. You know what? Hey, you know what? I'm cleaning out my fridge. You know, here's this. I don't need this anymore. Oh, you know, we were supposed to go out tonight. No, I'm not going to go out tonight. Kind of things like that. You know, things like that. I have an assignment to. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I don't need to do that anymore. What do you mean you don't need to do that anymore? You know, I'm not going to be around. Don't worry about it. Kind of things like that. There's definite telltale signs for somebody who is planning suicide. That's where that early intervention comes in. That's why we have our behavioral intervention team to say, you know, or I hate to say it, if it's critical and we've had it on campus, We've had a young lady try to hang herself over the University Oaks just last semester, and we got to her in time. Call 911. You know, there are definite telltale signs. As I said, social isolation, giving away property, prized things like that. Leaving notes saying, hey, you know, thank you for being a good friend. You know, I appreciate you being a good friend. See you later. Things like that. I hope that answers that question. That's cool. That's very cool.
I have a question. Say like someone in the audience is thinking about going into a career, hopefully to do mental health or criminal justice. What do you think would be a good starting point for them to like maybe start researching, or a good entry level position maybe?
You know, you're talking about apples and oranges, but then making fruit salad.
Yeah.
You know, which cool. So on the criminal justice side, so look, as I said, when I was your age, I got in at the University of Buffalo up in New York as a student assistant. And I learned, and that's where I saw my first dead body and things like that. And I was like, cool, you know, let's do this. You know what I mean? And that attracted me to kind of the criminal justice side. Now, as I said, many, many years later, I got kind of attracted to the mental health side. And now this part of, so I have kind of two parts of me saying I want to help people from different ways. All right. Number one, I hate a bully, and I hate it when people hurt each other or try and hurt somebody. If somebody does that in my presence, watch out. Okay, that Italian New Yorker is going to come out and things are going to get ugly. Okay, I'm just kidding. I'll do my job. But on the mental health side of it, I don't want to see somebody who is sick being treated or ostracized because they're sick. You know, I want to see them get the treatment they need, get on the meds they need, be able to take those meds, have the money to do it, the insurance to do it, the resources to do it, be able to go see a therapist without having to take the bus for 10 city blocks, something like that. I don't want that. I want them to be at their doorstep and say, here you go, here's what you need to be well. It's a tough question to answer. Where would you start on both sides of it? You know, I mean, you know, being that baby police officer, being, you know, something like that, to be able to go out and help, you know, and then on the other side, getting that education in psychology, moving on for that master's, maybe that doctorate degree, you know, and kind of then, you know, melding those two together. You know what I mean? I know that's kind of a lot of substance in that, but, you know, it's a tough question. Tough question. I don't want to take up any time that you need at the end, but I got plenty of time.
It's all yours.
I'm just gonna go hit the gym after this. So I'm good. What other questions do you have for me?
Do you ever have to like testify in court?
Oh, yeah. When not so much now, because I don't really deal with cases, I deal with people. And so from a leader standpoint, well, let me address your question first. When I was an investigator, yes, I had to go to court all the time. My biggest case that I worked here at the university, and this was now about 12, 14 years ago, there was a lady who embezzled almost $250,000 from our library in late fines. She would take the late fines and pocket them and go. The director of the library went to a conference and they were comparing their late fines totals, and all these other universities had like 30,000, 40,000. We had like $10. She's like, what the hell? So they did a forensic audit and they found out this lady was pocketing the money, and I got that case and I got that lady convicted. So now being a leader, as I said, things are different. Okay. For me now, leadership, my definition of leadership, okay, because I talk about this a lot too. My textbook, if somebody were asked me, you know, what is a leader? A leader is somebody who positively influences their employees to obtain organizational goals. Okay, that's what a leader is. How is leadership obtained? That's a different path. That, you know, empowerment, you know, all that stuff. Okay, that's fine. Leadership itself, I want my people to go do the job and achieve my goals. And you know what? I want to be back here. I want to be hands off and say, look, I'm giving you what you need. Go do it. Be successful. And I hope I am. And I'm told I am, but I hope I am. I always strive for that. Good question. I'll get to you. Go ahead.
Is mental health still stigmatized within police?
Absolutely. Absolutely. As I said, there's a lot of cops that instead of doing, you know, a psych hold, they'll take somebody to jail because it's easier to do. Yeah, it is. And it sucks. It really sucks. I wish I could end it, but I can't.
Does the department have any like shadow work that we can participate in just to get some experience?
Sure. I know we do interns every semester. We also do work studies. We do the Rowdy Watch thing, which is like really the interns we do shadow every department or every section within our department, including our behavioral team and things like that. That would be a good opportunity. It's every semester. I think we do 2 or 3 per semester. Yeah, I think you guys have my contact information. We can put it up on the board real quick before we go. So yeah, definitely. Yes, ma'am.
So there's no like mental health like training course in your
Oh, yeah, no.
training to be police?
Oh, well, there is. Okay, so let me explain that. When I was a baby officer here and started in 2000, it was an 8-hour class. Okay. From there, it morphed into a 16-hour class. Now it's a 40-hour class, a full week-long class. Now, mind you, I'm very close to graduating with a master's degree in mental health counseling. And there's still some cops that think that they know more than me after they took a 40-hour class. And I'm like, I teach this crap. Are you kidding me? And then I start talking to them about some of the deep dive stuff. And they're like, what are you talking about? It's like, yeah, shut up. Because I don't have a problem putting somebody in their place if they don't know what they're talking about. If they want help, and I tell this in all my classes, I put them up there. I said, I don't care. If you're out in the field somewhere, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, call me if you need help. You know, my wife is used to it. Don't worry about it. She knows it's not somebody else. It's all good. So yeah, more needs to be done. A lot more. Anybody else? Any other questions? No? Cool. Is there anything else you wanted me to talk about tonight?
I think you did awesome.
Okay, I appreciate that. I really appreciate the opportunity. I really do. As I said, I really make the offer to come do this again, to talk about something else, or any of your classes, something like that. I'm down to be able to do that. Can we put something up on the screen? Yeah, sure. Just open up. I should have put it on the PowerPoint slide. I apologize. So yeah, just here, go down to the, or whatever. Just put it there. I don't care. I can just say it on there. So just hit enter and go to another line. Yeah. No, if not, just do insert and just add another slide. Oh, well, led with that, man. Okay. Sure. It's Thomas, THOMAS dot CALUCCI Calucci, I'm Sicilian, at UTSA. Write it down, take a picture, do whatever you need to do, that's fine. If I can ever, as I said, help you all with anything, please give me a shout. I'm more than happy to do that. Okay?
Yeah,
Cool. I didn't even drink my bottle of water.
Oh.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for speaking.
Okay, y'all.
You have
Have
a
a
thank
good
you
evening.
card. Thank you card. Hold on. We have a card for you.
Oh,
We just really appreciate you speaking for
oh,
us.
yeah, no worries, no worries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck, y'all, this semester. Thanks,
Have a
y'all.
nice day. Bye.
Oh,
Yeah. They're all in here. Yeah, that's the end of our meeting. We'll stick around for a little bit if you guys have any questions about membership or anything that he said. I can give you his contact info again or whatever you guys need. Okay. Thank you, guys. Sorry, Jolie, what is your question? Is there a limit like on how many hours you can do on virtual? Oh yeah, you can do as like Mariana said, you can do as many as you want. But our requirements are a minimum of 15.